It's time for a look at a developing story with Kevin Green, senior markets correspondent for the network. So Kevin, walk us through some of the headlines we're seeing in Apple today, as Apple is higher along with the overall market, but still keeping its stronghold over the wearables and some of these other devices as the market goes. And of course, we do still have the iPhone 15 launch coming out just in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, a lot of news when it comes to Apple here. Now we have Bloomberg reporting that Apple is actually going to be rolling out some significant changes to its iPad Pro series here in the upcoming year. Not going to be this year, but looking like next year in the spring or maybe even the summer here. Now they have had some updates when it comes to the iPad, but they have been incremental, really focusing on the camera as well as some sensors. But this change is going to actually include an update to the Magic Keyboard, which was actually rolled out in 2020, and they look to enhance that product offering and actually having that alongside the iPad Pro. And they're also looking at utilizing the M3 chips, which there's been a lot of talk around this chip because it's really high powered and it's going to be able to definitely synthesize and enhance the overall user experience. Last but not least, the OLED displays, which is already within the iPhones in itself since 2017. Now they're going to roll those out to the iPad, and that's going to be another area where they might see a little bit of a boost in customer engagement. One of the things that we have seen since COVID is the cycle times or the refresh times when it comes to consumers has definitely slowed over the last couple of years. So they're thinking with having all of these new upgrades, as well as having different sizes available, like the 11-inch or 13-inch models, that could actually revitalize some of the iPad sales. Now, when we look at the last quarter, their iPad sales actually dropped about 20% on a year-over-year basis, but it's only around 7% of total sales. And that may sound a little bit small, Jenny, but at the end of the day, it's still about $5.8 billion when it comes to sales here. So let's see if they're going to be able to try to revitalize the iPad market, trying to have somewhat of a user experience similar to utilizing a phone, while also leveraging the Magic Keyboard to give a laptop experience here in the near future.
Yeah, and Kevin, I mean, I do think 7% sounds small, but then when you look at the rest of their sort of revenue and the way that they derive their money, I mean, it's such a massive company that 7% in context is so massive to me. But walk us through sort of what we can expect here from the next couple of weeks for Apple, because we do see this being more of a long-term story from Bloomberg, like you laid out. But of course, iPhone is still dominant. It's still around 50% of their overall revenue. So what can we expect from this highly awaited iPhone 15 launch?
Yeah, well, a lot of analysts are really focusing on these like recycle times. And when we kind of talk about that, that just means customers really updating the phones that they already have. And once again, we've seen that really elongate over since COVID-19 here. And right now it's sitting at around 2 to 2.5 years. They'd like to see that refresh cycle at around 1.5 years, because that means that it's going to be able to drive further sales. So I think that's where we're going to really be focusing on, as well as trying to figure out the manufacturing processes as well as the delivery mechanisms when it comes to the iPhone. We know that Foxconn and some of the other providers for Apple have had some issues when it comes to not only the supply chain, but the manufacturing process, which could then lead to having lower supplies and higher prices. And that's really not what customers want to see. But you know, as well as I do, there's a lot of customers that are just diehard Apple fans. So no matter what the price is, they're probably going to see a little bit of interest, especially as it just rolls out.
Yeah, and Kevin, I just know from having an iPhone 11, I believe that I am definitely due, but I will not mind waiting and not being part of like the whole frenzy to initially get one. I've waited 4 years. I can wait another couple of months, but we will leave it there. Appreciate the breakdown on, of course, a very important name to the overall market. That is all things Apple. Kevin Green, senior markets correspondent for the network.